right, welcome back to this small series on business-to-business sales. In the last video, we talked about the relating stage, how you can get to know the customer, how you can build the trust. In this presentation here, we will be moving from the relating to the discovering stage. As I mentioned in the previous video, it can be difficult to figure out whether you're in one or another, and they do overlap to a large extent. But what is it that we're doing here? And sorry for the big amount of text here, but it is important to have these discovery skills. It's because what we fear the most as a salesperson is that no need. We don't want to hear that, because then we're getting the stop sign and we cannot move forward. So what is the difference between the problem and need? Think about it a couple of seconds, maybe pause the video. But in essence, customer knows his problem, and you can actually help by discovering his needs. The thing is that problem is historically looking, needs is forward looking, and we want to move into this forward looking because we want to move the customer to a new place and we want to fulfill the needs. So we need to get talking about the needs. We need to be able to question, we need to be able to listen, we need to possess restatement skills. I'll get back to how we do that and what it actually means. And then we must not go ahead with the sales presentation until we have all the critical information. This is important. It's what we call the agreement. Take more of that a little bit later. Through the process of specifying the needs, a partnership between the buyers and the sellers are established. And as I mentioned, it's down to these talks about relating and creating trust. All relevant problems, all relevant needs. We might not solve all of them. We might give some of it to a competitor or a collaborator or somewhere else, but we are the one defining it and helping the customer to get where they want to be. First step up, listening. And trust me, I'm really bad at that. I love to talk, and especially a sales situation, I talk, and it's stupid. It's really important to be the good listener. And what are some of the tricks that I've learned over time and is using is these restating things. So we cannot restate, you cannot paraphrase or summarize without having listened to the customer. You cannot do checking questions. So when you said that, was that this or wasn't that? And then wait for an answer. Especially these times where we're working so much online, this has actually become easier. It's easier to work with the silence, the quietness. You know, like there might be issues with the connecting. They might need to unmute the phone and things like that. Then I encourage them to continue. They have started on expressing something you might find interesting. Okay, could you elaborate on that? Be genuinely curious. Last thing here is originally written for the physical sales meeting, but it's just as important as in the virtual meeting as it is in the physical meeting. One of the small things you might notice here is that I'm actually looking straight at you. It's because I've raised my computer up, I'm standing here, and I'm looking directly into the camera. That's the eye contact that you also want to. You might have the image of the customer just below the camera, but look up at the camera, they will feel that you are actually listening. Use your open arms, lean forward a bit. They can actually feel that. And nod your head when you're listening, when you're hearing. That's also part of getting them to continue talking. Be aware on the last one, if you're dealing in India, it's not this nod, it's that nod. So there are cultural variations to this. Then you also need to ask the questions, and here are some categories that you can use. It's fact finding. How are things going right now? Of course, you need the permission always. So can I ask you a little bit more about that? I have understood like this. Can you elaborate? Permission to, or is this something you want to share with me? It'll help me in providing a best solution for you. Most of the time, people love to tell about their own business. So don't sweat it. It's not that dangerous. Fact finding, present situation, feeling finding. We want to move forward. We want to get to this need. What do you feel about? What is that you want to achieve? Where do you see yourself in that process when I've provided the solutions? So what's your best case scenario? Or what's the minimum you need to have achieved? And then the buying center. Buying center is this: who is involved in the purchase? It could be the finance guy, it could be the engineer, it could be the logistics, supply chain management, warehouse manager, or engineer sitting in a supporting function. Probably usually you have the finance involved as well. To sum this up, we have what we call the gap. We have what they have right down, the history, background causes, buying roles, conditions. That's the questions that we need to figure out here first in the discovery phase. Then we need to figure out what's the want. Where do they want the improvements, gains, satisfaction? Are there personal motives involved here? We need to be able to work with this gap. For this gap, we will create the discovery agreement. The discovery agreement is what summarizes the discrepancies between the have and the want. And that's what we use to shape our offer on. So we never suggest a process to solve the problem without the discovery agreement. We describe the present and the wanted situation, hopefully in writing. Sometimes in a meeting, if things are fast, you can do it there, but preferably in writing, then you have something that you can return to later on. If acceptance is not given, you have to go back. You have to relate some more. You have to discover some more before you can move on, and then commit through the design of the agreement. You can actually work together on it. Avoid mixing discovery and solution presentation. You have the best product, always. I know you do. And that's why you would love to present your solution to. But you need to have all the facts on the table first. What do you do if that buyer puts for a solution prematurely? You don't know everything, but they are asking for a solution. Think a little bit about it. What would you say? Well, I don't know, because it's up to you. I have said, well, I need to know some more about X, Y, Z before I can shape it entirely, but hey, you need to try out what fits for you. So that was the presentation of the discovery. Next video is about the advocating. All right, see you.